I was looking for a game that is as special as The Witcher and Red Dead Redemption. I believe I found it in Ghost of Tsushima. Not only that, it has become a benchmark. It impressed me so much that I even wrote a haiku. I will tell it at the end of the video. Come with me to explore this world of beauty created by Sucker Punch, one of the best RPGs ever made. Let's see what makes it so special that I consider it on par with the greats. I came into this game after waiting for 4 years for it to come to PC, trying not to read or learn about it as much as possible, so that I could have the true feel of the first experience. I didn't even know who I'd be fighting against or who the ghost is. I'm happy to report, I did a good job. Side note, I'll try to keep most of the review as spoiler free as possible, but there will be some in the end. I'll give you a warning. We start the game as Jin Sakai, one of the lords of Japanese island named Tsushima, that is being invaded by Mongols led by Khotun Khan, a ruthless general and the main antagonist. From the first moments of the game, you're thrown into battle on horseback as a tutorial to the main game mechanics. It is all accompanied by fires burning around, corpses, and a significant number of enemies which you have to fight through. With the music and sounds of battle, it feels really immersive. The devs at Sucker Punch really made the battlefield dangerous and massive. Then you can see how the samurai have failed the battle on the beach, and Jin, just a hair away from certain death, is saved by Yuna, a thief who needs Jin's help saving her brother from the Mongols. After that, there is a little training on stealth and how to evade the enemies, and that concludes the tutorial.
Yuna, wait. Lord Shimura is my uncle.
The game itself has so much to offer. It might feel a little slow after the initial entrance, a common trait in many games today, falling off closer to mid-game with too much stuff to do, and you just start losing interest because you go and investigate question marks on the map and not the main mission or side quests. It becomes some sort of a routine. I had at least a dozen titles that I didn't finish just because of that. The only reason I didn't fall into the same loop with Ghost of Tsushima is my channel. Let's quickly go through the good and bad stuff I've encountered in the game, and then I'll tell you a bit more about how the game feels. Fast travel, which truly is fast. It feels like it is under a second, and after the loading simulator, it feels so nice. Don't get me wrong, I liked Starfield. Didn't get to why just yet, but I liked it more than I should have looking at the overwhelmingly mediocre reviews of it. Combat mechanics. At first it feels like there is a lot, and there is, but you can tailor it to your fighting style and rhythm. You can be a ghost weapon specialist and rely on them in your fight, be someone who parries or evades enemy attacks, or just do it stealthily, or be an archer. Do whatever you want, however you want. The game is stunning, and I mean it. Just look at how beautiful this is. It is amazing to look at. I would love to travel to those places, if they were real. It has a little trail of nostalgia. Those oversaturated colors wouldn't feel realistic. But here, with this setting, with the general art direction, it works, and works great. I think it should be one of the most beautiful art designs that I've ever seen. I can see traces of inspiration from Witcher's setting sun over Velen, slightly adapted and added color, which is a good thing. Or how the start and the end of the quest is presented, with the letters and graphics becoming the leaves that blow out in the wind. They try to use the world and its views to the advantage of the game, so that many times when you complete a quest, you're greeted with the beautiful scenery, which you can just sit and look at. Which I did, more than in any other title before that. Sometimes it was accompanied with a thought about things that happened, which I find to be a great indicator of well-done narrative. I liked how they used haikus to direct your view to something beautiful, and give you some time from full-on adrenaline-fueled battle to the beauty of this handcrafted world. What a nice way for the devs to say, hey, just look at what we've made, while conveying Japanese culture at the same time. The speed at which your horse travels is bad, like almost no reason to use it if you're not going far. chances are you're not going to feel that much of a difference. I don't know why it is. Maybe the horses are really this slow in real life. Or it just feels slow here. Or Jin is an Olympic runner. Thank God there is a great fast travel system, so in the end it's more of a missed opportunity rather than a direct failure. To show you the direction in which you want or are required to go, the devs tried using a gentle wind blowing from side to side, showing you the general direction. I believe it's Jin's father's spirit guiding him. While you get used to it, I think it's sometimes confusing and having a minimap could be a bit more useful to most gamers. Yes, someone would argue that it's the stylistic approach to not have UI elements in the game, and that I should be focused on the game's truly beautiful art, which I am, but maybe create a little better way of showing where to go rather than a somewhat transparent white thing flowing in the air, or just show a minimap for a second after you press G button to summon the wind. I believe there are better ways to deal with this, but you can live with it. That's cherry picking, and yeah, I don't know anything else that could get this much of my attention. So it should tell you how good the game truly is. Now let me tell you about the fighting and things there are to do. It feels like they took some good stuff from The Witcher and Red Dead Redemption 2, like the quests that are not done in the dialogue window, but are more free-flowing, with some real-time events happening while you game. Like Mongol patrols spawning in different versions. It's for sure not the Red Dead Redemption 2 level of things where you could just see a prisoner run away and have the option of doing nothing or catching him and then taking him to the closest sheriff in the area, which by the way, the game doesn't tell you to do. But the sheriff will acknowledge it and give you some money. With that, I should say that the world of Ghost of Tsushima is not a technical masterpiece like the Red Dead Redemption, but rather tries to play on what works there and tastefully add it to the game. Some quests can only be found through those kinds of random encounters, and it greatly helps with immersion. It encourages you to go and explore on your own.
The Mongols turned it into a shipyard.
They must be repairing their ships, getting ready for their next conquest. Stay away from there until I've killed them all.
And while you do so, you can find some goodies. There are collectibles, a good amount of them. I'm not really a 100% completion type of gamer that finds all of the flags or riddlers question marks. I think it's too tedious, and it takes away from the game itself, making it boring, which in return makes me want to stop playing it. Here you have the stuff that actually does help you, and there is not too much of it, or not too many things you should care about. I think at this point, it's more like the industry thinks that the game should have it due to other games including those useless collectibles because players expect it. But I don't know anyone personally who would want to go and collect all that in every single game they play. In this title, I think they struck a good balance between usefulness and amount of them. The collectibles and stuff you want to find are hot water springs. It gives a slight boost to your overall health, and you can choose a theme to think about. It exposes Jin as a person, reflecting on his thoughts, and gets you attached to him and his story. Memorials, where you can find a lot of custom colored katanas. There are a lot of great designs, and I felt like I was changing them a lot after picking up and just matching my outfit. Bamboo Strike, a place where you should press up to 7 buttons in order and in quick succession to split them in half. You get Resolve in exchange for successfully completing the challenge. In the beginning, Resolve is used to heal and later on for some techniques. Haiku writing spots, mostly, they are there to show off the beauty of the game, and I'm all for it. Also, you get a headband, which is nice. Inari shrines give you charm slots and a charm that can be powered up a couple of times. This one is pretty important. Temples. Here you can get some cool charms to equip on the slots. I didn't do all of them, I got the charms that suited my playstyle early on. Those are a bit more tedious to complete. Sashimono banners and Mongol artifacts. I didn't really look for them and still got over 50% of what's there, so I think this only strengthens my point. They didn't make too many of those, which is a good thing, because they are mostly useless. I want to point out that every powerful warrior in the game had extensive training before war, so it feels natural that they are that strong and can dispatch countless Mongols. They're not just farmers that had like 10 hours of training. because I think it got too overplayed recently that someone without any experience in fighting can just become a great warrior because he or she is the chosen one. It doesn't really work like that, does it? With that, off to the fighting, the most exciting part of the game. I like how the fighting is not easy, and you will die even if you play on normal difficulty, especially in boss fights or with the higher tier enemies you meet. As you learn new styles and learn about enemies' tactics, you get better at it. You learn to fight stronger in bigger numbers of enemies, so you get better, as does Jin on his path of becoming the Ghost of Tsushima. It makes you bond with the protagonist. You feel one with him and follow his journey, and by the end of it, you are the Ghost, an absolute slayer of all. You see how enemy reaction changes towards you from that's one of the surviving samurai, come here and we'll finish it, to it's the Ghost is here, and some of them might even run away. Just overall success. Well done on that one. Enemy types you encounter range from Japanese bandits trying to take advantage of the chaos, simple and later on much stronger Mongol units, and Straw Hats, or otherwise known as Ronin, who are tough and skilled in combat. The Straw Hats are the ones who know how to use blades pretty well, and in numbers are a great threat, especially mixed with Mongol units. By that time, you get to become the Ghost, and this is the moment you feel power. Training on all of those targets before and learning the ways of Samurai and Ronin gives you an edge in fighting. I like how it becomes almost theatrical at points. Parry, strike, evade, throw kunai, use the secret technique, and then press 5 to clean your blade. The better you play, the more impressive it looks. Another thing I enjoyed is a standoff. Here you have to wait for your enemy to strike first, then you act, slashing them in one quick motion. The more you upgrade, the more you can take care of in this fashion. I think I liked it so much because of the Rurouni Kenshin that I watched as a little boy. When the protagonist is so fast, no one even sees him coming, only noticing when it's too late. I think this association played well for this title, so by extension of Jin, you are the cool one. I swear the latest Marvel movies don't feel that cool at any point, while this never gets old, even at a simple Mongol encounter. It just hit me differently. Chef's kiss, a cherry on top, call it what you want. Now we are coming into the spoiler section where I'll be discussing the unfolding events. If you haven't played it yet, please come back and watch it after you do. The story is not really that unpredictable and mostly uses well-known tropes, so I thought that it wouldn't make me too emotional or get me thinking too much about it. But the delivery is what got me. Heroes of the story are pretty stiff, filled with pride and honor. And at first, like 10-15 hours, you think they might not really be capable of personal growth, and then they do. You see how they react to changes, and to new things they learn along the way. The game is not purely black and white. Most situations are heavily grayed out. A great example of this is the thieves who killed some people in the village because they were starving to get food. It's not the noble thing to do, but what else are you going to do? It's more black than white for sure, but still, it was a matter of survival. It reminded me a lot of Witcher and its side quests, how everything is not as simple as it might seem at the first glance. The side characters in Ghost of Tsushima and their stories seem pretty straightforward in the beginning, getting more complex quite fast. And then you see the other side of the story. It gives more depth and personality to those stories, and people around it, which immerses you deeper and attaches you to your now friends and companions. I'm still confused by the story of Masako. She has lost all of her family in one day, and you help her find out who did it, the one responsible for the slaughter. In the end, you find out that the person lived a horrible life because of the decisions made by Masako. And you have no other option but to feel for the other side of the story too. The most masterfully crafted one is the story of Yuriko. It's a shorter one. Yuriko was a servant and caretaker in Jin's family who became a mother figure in Jin's life. What really impressed me with her story and quests is how fast she became important to me. You start to care about that woman, and I think she played one of the most crucial parts in how the story ends. When she shares that Jin's father was more like him, a creative soul that explored possibilities rather than sticking to the code without deviation, as does his uncle Shimura. It gives you more ground to understand him and sheds light on Jin's further decision making. The end of this series of quests made me feel a lot of emotions. It also gives you one other reason to fight to fend off Mongols and get your home back. It's a deeply touching story of mostly unsung heroes that fill the homes with love and care. Now to the one of the most important characters, Shimura, who is Jin's uncle that was looking after him since he was a young boy. Shimura has been training Jin to become the strongest samurai after his father's death. He's unforgiving to lawbreaking and truly believes in the way of the samurai, who brought peace to an otherwise crumbling world infected with corruption and crime. He believes that if someone starts to move away from it, it could lead to those dark times once again.
What are you doing? Not like that. Never like that.
Jin is very loyal to Shimura, as well as Shimura is loyal to Jin. They are father and son figures. But when it comes to choosing between the way of samurai and the lives of many, and the way of the ghost and saving them from certain death, Jin chooses the latter and truly embraces who he has become. And that shatters their relationship. It was a heartbreaking moment for me, because I understood both of them. Shimura, who fought to gain peace before the invasion, and Jin, trying to end the suffering of his people. This depicts the father and son problem, which is as old as this world. Both have their merits. All of these characters and exploration of mature issues depicted in this title give it so many more dimensions than just a Sunday movie. The heroes here have solid backstories and reasonings with room to grow. This game explores themes of honor and trust, sacrifice and betrayal. It shows the horrors of war and the tragedy it brings with it. Mix it with engaging gameplay and an interactive world, and you have the Ghost of Tsushima, the new benchmark in RPGs, standing proudly with the all-time greats. If you are looking for something to immerse yourself in, give it a try. I'm certain that this game will be worth every penny. As I said in the beginning, this game inspired me to write a haiku. So here it goes. The world feels hollow. Justice missed its mark again. The ghost wanders alone. So with that done, now I'll go and finish that DLC as a dessert I left for myself to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.